Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Friday, April 23rd, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is twitch.tv/Fran Mirabella.
What's going on? Happy to be back. Another day.
Yeah, man, 2 days in a row.
I know. And I think it's been 3 times, almost in a row hosting with you lately. So my pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
I know Tim complimented your beard yesterday, and I want to compliment it again. It is looking great.
I like to mix it up. And yeah, it's funny seeing there's, of course, like a bunch of like new YouTube comments about the beard since it'd been, I think, like a month since, I came on and was on yesterday. So yeah, I keep telling people I really have no plan with it. It just got to the point that people were keep the beard. So I'm like, all right, now it's been, 3 months or whatever. So
awesome.
Keep it, definitely keep it, but take care of it, Fran.
Take care of it.
For sure.
Don't turn into my dad, who was growing out his beard the entire time we've been sheltering in place, and then he started to look not great.
A little haggard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Duly noted.
Yeah, definitely take care of it. That's one of the reasons I shaved mine, is because I got to the point where I was like, I just don't. I'm new to this, and I don't feel like putting in the upkeep. And it's one of those things where you mentioned comments are like, dude, keep it. I had the thing where comments were divided on my beard, like the whole process of growing it. There are so many people that are like, dude, it's working, keep the beard, you're rocking it, and then like the other half are like, nah, man, shave. And I very much was like, I'm ignoring all that and just doing what I want to do, and I'm gonna rock with it for now because I wanted to see where it goes. But I did hit the point where I was like, it's time. I'm tired of this. It's time to go back to my old self.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's me personally. Every time I look in the mirror with it, I'm like, I don't know. But for now, we keep it. So we'll see
Madam Megan in the chat, nails it. Blessing's jawline is too good to cover with a beard. She's right.
That's
right.
Nailed it.
I also noticed that when I shaved the beard and I came back on shows, I would see myself and go, man, I've been hiding all this, man. Who's that man right there? Oh man, looking like a snack. That's what they're gonna call me now. Bless the snack Adeoye Jr. You know what I mean? Fran, enough about snacks. Let's talk about video game news. Today's stories include Hades continuing its Game of the Year dominance, Destiny 2 adding transmog, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, at to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you: our Invincible episode 7 reactions are up right now on youtube.com/kindoffunny. I am on that one along with the regular crew, and let me tell you, man, Invincible is a show you must be watching. If you want to know why, go ahead and check out our reactions. Do they have spoilers? The answer is yes. So maybe watch the show first and then check out our reactions, but you for sure should be watching Invincible. And so those went up, and then our Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale reactions are going up today. I think those are literally being recorded right now as I speak, and so look forward to those going up. Do you know what else is going up today, Barrett? Maybe tomorrow morning, depending on how this shakes out. Mortal Kombat in review. Wait, what was that, Fran?
I said Dogecoin.
No, Dogecoin is dead.
Oh, Dogecoin might be going up. I have no idea.
Hold.
Is it still going up? What's the status on
It's
Dogecoin?
back down to its new
peaked at
form.
like 50 cents, and then it's back down to 20 plus. It's not looking great. But yeah, I think the plan is Mortal Kombat in review is supposed to go up as soon as possible. So look forward to that tonight if something goes wrong tomorrow morning. And also XCast this week goes up tomorrow morning. youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. And
it is a busy day
around the world.
Podcast services around the world. Like Fridays at Kind of Funny are crazy because that is when new episodes of shows go up, and with our reaction stuff, it's fun because for one, we had to do our Invincible and Falcon reactions, and the Falcon reactions are happening right now. What that meant was for Mortal Kombat, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Mortal Kombat, I believe, went up towards midnight last night. That meant that either the choices were everybody stays up till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. watching these shows and then wake up today and then do our reactions, or we do what we're doing, which is right now, after I finish Kind of Funny Games Daily, my job is to immediately watch Mortal Kombat. And so I'm watching Mortal Kombat right after this, and then right when we're finished, we then record Mortal Kombat in review, and I'm looking forward to that.
Don't forget to order some good food while you're at it.
Oh, dude, 100%. I'm getting some pizza. Looking forward to it. Fran, are you looking forward to Mortal Kombat?
People keep asking me this, and obviously the first film that came out was an exciting time, but I don't know. It hasn't. For whatever reason of being trapped inside, it hasn't been like, oh my god, I can't wait. So if people push me, like you have to watch this, I probably will. But if it doesn't become that, if that's not the reaction, it'll fall off my radar for years to come, probably.
Now, another question for you: do you plan to play a game called Returnal?
Yes. After seeing the recent footage, I just saw a little bit. I'm trying not to look at too much of it, but I was like, this is heavily inspired by Metroid. Whether or not the game ends up playing like it, I don't know. I know you got to check some out. So yeah, I mean, you tell me. Should I definitely check it out? But
yeah, my first impressions are up, which is another piece of housekeeping. You can check that out on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. And yeah, dude, I've been enjoying it so far. It's been messing up my sleep schedule actually. I keep staying up super late playing this game because in my first impressions, I compare it a lot to Hades meets Control meets Metroid, and it has that Hades addicting gameplay loop where it's a roguelite and you want to keep going over and over again and get further and further in your run.
Really?
Yeah. And I've played it pretty much like I'm any free time I have, I'm spending it playing Returnal. And when I am not playing Returnal because I'm busy, I am upset that I'm not playing Returnal. It is addicting. It is a roguelite.
So yeah, maybe we shouldn't dive too deep into it, but you is this like the final review code that you were able to play, or I don't know if you can say, but okay.
I don't think I'm restricted on saying that. And so yeah, like the code is provided by PlayStation. FCC, don't sue me. And we were able to put up preview impressions for the first 2 biomes, so I can talk about those all I want. And as of now, I've not made it past the first 2 biomes because the game is super difficult. That was the thing that I wasn't.
Dope.
Oh yeah, that was the thing I wasn't expecting, and it's a welcome challenge because again, I've spent so many hours in just the first 2 biomes, and they're kicking my ass. But I'm also like, I'm gonna fight back. I want to keep going. I want to keep making my way forward, and it's really enjoyable.
Wow. So like super fast. It has like gear loadout type stuff, or that it's got depth to like gear loadout. It's not just replaying the same level because it's hard.
Yeah. Well, gear loadout is an interesting one because at any point you can only have a max of 1 gun, at least so far where I'm at in the game. And there are different guns. There are different types of weapons you can pick up. And so there's a pistol. There's I guess machine gun is what I'll call it. There's a shotgun type weapon. There's all like alien-ish weaponry. And so you have different guns, but then you also have consumables that you can pick up. Like all the stuff that you're using through your run are things that you're picking up during your run. And so you're picking up new guns, you're picking up consumables, which give you special abilities, and then you're also leveling up your weapon proficiency, which means that the more you use your guns, the better they become. And you can also pick up items in the world that'll then level up those guns and make them stronger. And then you also have a bunch of other stuff. Like it is roguelite mechanics where the further you get in your run, the stronger and stronger you're getting.
Cool, man. All right. Well, we'll have to check out your Returnal impressions.
Heck yeah, look forward to that on a show called PS I Love You XOXO, which is going up next week, but not at its regular time. PS I Love You XOXO usually goes up on Tuesdays. It is being pushed until later in the week, which also means there will be no Patreon live recording for that one, but be on the lookout for that episode when it drops next week. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mick at The Nanobiologist, Tom Bach, Trent Berry, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by DoorDash, ExpressVPN, and HelloFresh, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 7 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with our number 1, Fran, would it surprise you if I told you that Hades continues to dominate its Game of the Year run?
It doesn't. I mean, we can't stop talking about Hades anywhere, it seems, whether in the top news story or in the housekeeping.
Exactly. Hades just keeps coming up. It came up at the DICE Awards. I'm going to pull from Jeffrey Rousseau at GamesIndustry.biz, who gives us a breakdown on how it's done. Today, and this is yesterday, Supergiant Games Hades won Game of the Year at the 24th Annual DICE Awards, one of 5 honors the game received. It earned this achievement ahead of Animal Crossing New Horizons, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us 2, Part 2. The DICE Award organizers, the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, awarded Hades with Outstanding Achievement for Game Direction, Outstanding Achievement for Game Design, Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game, and Action Game of the Year. Ghost of Tsushima won the next most categories with 4 awards, including Adventure Game of the Year. The only other multiple award winners were Half-Life Alyx and The Last of Us Part 2, each of which won 2 categories. The full list of winners go like this. Fran, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So Hades won Game of the Year. Action Game of the Year went to Hades. Adventure Game of the Year went to Ghost of Tsushima. Family Game of the Year went to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Fighting Game of the Year went to Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. Racing Game of the Year went to Mario Kart Live. Role-Playing Game of the Year went to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Sports Game of the Year went to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Strategy/Simulation went to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Immersive Reality Technical Achievement went to Half-Life Alyx. Immersive Reality Game of the Year went to Half-Life Alyx. Mobile Game of the Year was Legends of Runeterra. Online Game of the Year, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Outstanding Achievement in Game Design went to Hades. Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game went to Hades. Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, Hades. Outstanding Achievement in Animation, The Last of Us Part 2. Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction went to Ghost of Tsushima. Outstanding Achievement in Character went to Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition, Ghost of Tsushima. Achievement in Audio Design went to Ghost of Tsushima. Achievement in Story went to The Last of Us Part 2. And then Technical Achievement went to Dreams. Fran, do any of these stick out to you?
I mean, number one, PlayStation sticks out to me. So had a great, let's call it one of the last years, I guess, of PlayStation 4. But man, crushed it with exclusives like Final Fantasy VII, and then Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us. But personally, yeah, I could see it must have been a really tough year. Sometimes you obviously have, let's call it an easier choice. Some things just stand out as obvious. I think it probably was pretty tough for them. But so happy for Hades. I was so stoked about that game when it came out in alpha. I was actually seeing praises of it on the Gamescast and trying to get everybody to play it. And that was in its early form, and I was getting addicted. So congrats to that game. Full disclosure, I actually have had to avoid the final game because I've had so much other stuff to grind, to keep on top of. And I guess part of it was, okay, I already kind of like checked it out and I'll get back to it. But the more and more I keep seeing it win awards and get high reviews, I'm like, I'm feeling bad about it. So it's on my list, but I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to have time to knock it out this year, but it will happen.
Yeah, Hades is one that it doesn't surprise me anymore when these award shows happen and it's dominating for the 2021 discussion. The one that does surprise me a little bit is how well Ghost of Tsushima did, because Ghost of Tsushima is another one where the audience loves it. I love that game, and I know plenty of critics really do enjoy Ghost of Tsushima, but when it came out, I don't think it was one that spoke to critics being like, this is art, this is next level, this is the one, right? In the way that a game like Hades or even The Last of Us Part 2 did. But surprisingly, The Last of Us Part 2 took away only 2 awards, and I wonder how much of that is the competition that it's in seemingly with Hades during all these award shows. Like, it's usually going to one or the other, and I think Hades had that special stuff and had that special story around it that is giving it that extra push.
Yeah, I mean, it is an amazing achievement for a small team, too. I think it's hard to, even though you just have to look at the game itself when you make these decisions, I'd say. I just think it stands out as something that really is an amazing achievement. It's got so much character. It feels fresh in that way, I think.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it must have been a tough decision. But yeah, I mean, as much sort of initial controversy as there was about commentary around Last of Us 2, the game itself, I thought, man, amazing, so outstanding. I look at something like the technical direction category here as well, and I am happy for Dreams, obviously. But when I look at a game like Last of Us 2 and the stuff that game does that you don't realize it's doing is like unreal. And I had so many moments as a fan of gaming and the technology behind it where I was like, you look at the animation category and trust me, that was probably an obvious choice. There's so much that Last of Us does that makes it so immersive. That anyway, it was one of my favorite games of last year from all these categories. But it would have been a tough choice for me. If you asked me what was my game of the year, I honestly, I'd take it so seriously. I'd be like, well, let me get back to you in a few weeks. But Last of Us 2 was way up there. Ghost of Tsushima, and then
I mean, we're in April now. Like, do you not have a definitive one?
Well, I just don't. when I don't get put on the panel or my feet held to the fire, I don't do that. I guess maybe it was my many years at IGN when it's like, okay, we got to decide game of the year and put me in a room. But if I wasn't on that panel, I'd be like, I don't know, because it's the authorship of when I put my, choice down, I feel like I'm like, that's set in stone. And anyway, it would be a tough choice between a lot of these. And like, I look at a game like Half-Life Alyx, by the way, I think that would have been way up there. I saw some of that game and like, pretty unreal, the stuff they pulled off in Alyx as well. I think it's a shorter game, but yeah, it was a tough year, so I couldn't choose. But Last of Us 2 is way up there for me.
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx is one that I think gets held back so much by being a VR game that is on that is not even available on every single VR platform, right? Like you have to have a specific PC that can run that thing with specific hardware. Like I can't even play it on PSVR or Oculus Quest without having to do the Oculus Link thing. And that's one game that I wonder how well it would have done in these runnings if it were available just to play as a non-VR game, but also like how much of that is stripped away, right? Like how much is Half-Life Alyx such an incredible game because it's doing incredible things in the VR space as opposed to just being an incredible game, period.
Yeah, but yeah, you nailed it, which is if it was more widely accessible, I think it just would have had more buzz. It definitely would have been more top of mind on a lot of these choices. But you hit the nail on the head, too, with the whole, is it a VR thing? But that's the thing. It's this whole new medium, really, in gaming, and it broke through in a lot of ways. And I think it probably could have easily, been Game of the Year. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one because it's caught in this new medium, which not everybody has, and that stands out when you're making these choices. So I think we'll look back on it and realize how much it did that other VR games now are trying to catch up with, in the future.
Fran, let's talk about story number 2. Destiny 2 finally adds transmog, and it's a hassle. I'm pulling from Adam Bankhurst at IGN. Destiny 2 is finally adding a transmog system that'll let players change an armor's appearance to another desired one, but it's a bit of a hassle. As detailed by Bungie, Destiny 2's upcoming transmog system arrives in a few short weeks and is called Armor Synthesis, but it takes a bit of work to actually use it. The first step in the process requires players to collect synth strand from defeating enemies. Once 150 synth strand is earned, players can visit 801 in the tower to acquire class-specific bounties that reward synth cord upon completion. This is a fun news story to do because I don't understand half these words, but I know Fran's nodding along like, oh man, I know exactly what
I don't understand either, but I
okay.
A little more to go on, I guess.
There will be 5 categories of armor synthesis bounties, including Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, Destinations, and Raid and Dungeons. A few examples of these bounties are as follows. Complete playlist strikes using specific subclasses, accumulate points in Nightfall strikes, capture zones in Crucible control matches, and they go on to list a few more. Once enough is gathered, players will need to convert the synth cord at the loom in the tower into synthweave, which can then be used to convert an unlocked armor appearance, legendary quality, or lore from collections into a universal armor ornament. Players will be able to earn up to 10 synth weave per class per season, except in the season of Redacted, which will let players earn 10 additional synth weave per class via an introductory experience. There are also other exceptions that apply to this armor synthesis process, including that exotic armor pieces cannot take on the appearance of another armor set as, quote, we want to maintain their appearance for players to quickly identify and understand what exotic perks a player may have in all activities, end quote. Furthermore, Year 1 armor ornaments will also not be eligible for transmog, although a fix is in the works for a future season. Fran, you know all this Destiny shit. You know most of the lingo. Where do you stand with all this?
Yeah, first of all, let's just put it out there that if I go off on some wild tangent, you need to interrupt me and say, Fran, we got to move on.
I have nothing to say about this news story, and so this is your chance to get on your soapbox.
Interrupt me. Knock him dead.
It's all you guys.
But secondly, just to make sure everybody understands what the heck, like if you search for transmog on Twitter right now, it's all about Destiny because What that is, right? If you haven't gone through this in previous games like Diablo or WoW or whatever, it's you get armor and gear with stats that you're wearing that make you look really stupid in a lot of ways because they're mix and match. And some have systems where you keep the stats and you put on a skin basically, and you say, okay, I want to look like this, but have these stats of this new stuff that I just earned without it looking like that. So anyway, this has been requested for many years. The way you look in a game like Destiny is super important. Honestly, the game is incredible looking, and so it's really been a disadvantage that you kind of get stuck with a lot of this armor, and you can't just look cool throughout your experience. So they're finally introducing that. So everybody's super excited about it. But there's a lot of controversy here because they're time gating is what's happening. Your ability. They're doing a couple things. Actually not even time gating. They are gating you, period, on how much you can change your appearance, period. And so you have 5 pieces of armor that you put on, and what you're doing is earning a currency to transform each one of those. You can do that in the first season, which will be about, I don't know, actually it's going to go on for a lot of months, but it's normally like about 4 months long. Mm-hmm. So with each season, they're saying you can do 10 pieces per season. That's it. You have to make the choice. So this first season, you're going to be able to do 20 pieces, which would be, let's assume you do sets, which would come in 5 pieces. You can do 4 sets within a season. Let me tell you, there's a ton of armor. So we got to take this back to the fact that we've also been playing this game for 7 years, or Destiny 2 for 3 or 4 years. So you have a lot of sets and stuff that I think people were looking forward to finally putting on instead of this crazy mismatch. So it's really not gone over well with a lot of the community because it says, wait, there's a limit on how much you can do. Grinding for it, which you outlined with the synth cord, which you turn into the next currency, which you turn into the next one. Effectively, you're just grinding until you can turn in your piece and convert it is all that really means. I will say, number one, it's easily misunderstood that there's some importance to that. I think if everybody can put on a piece of armor that they've earned, even less rare armors, and make a full set, you look pretty dope. And in other words, I think by grinding to have a nice looking set, it's good because there will be some rarity to the sets. Not everybody's just wearing whatever they want. So I do think that part was important, and I understand that they kind of got to put some gates on it. But to say that you only get 20 pieces out if they have so much gear is tough for people. And on top of that, it is not a free-to-play game for everybody. And this does send you to the store eventually, and you go looking, and you can buy templates for this currency, apparently. And I don't know if there's a limit on how much you can do. It's $10 for a full set. Now you're getting into that whole thing, and I think it's hard to not assume that that's a cornerstone of this concept, that they're sitting there and saying, look, not everybody wants to do this anyway. And most people are only going to wear a few of these every season anyway. The most hardcore, are the ones that are going to grind for it. They'll be fine. And 4 to start is plenty. Then 2 every season after probably is fine. But the reaction without going through it from everybody is like, I don't know. Do you want me to buy more? Is that what's going on here? And why after 7 years for some of us, it's a really knee-jerk reaction that's happening. So yeah, there's a lot of controversy over it. And
what do you think is the right way to go about it? Like, would it just be to let people transmog however much they want, or would that mess up balance at all in the game?
Yeah, like I said, I think there truly is a gameplay nuance to consider, that if everybody can just do whatever they've earned in the past for only a little bit of grinding, it does lose its specialty. And without playing it, it is hard for me to say, does that matter? Do I care if you've only played the game for 25 hours and you actually got a decent rare set and you look pretty dope? Am I like, wait, but I put in all this time, I should be rewarded to look cool? I don't know. It's hard without playing it to definitively say it. But what I can say is coming out and saying, well, you'll get 4 sets, for the first season. And after that, you only get 2 sets per season or sets is a little misleading because it's whatever pieces you want to do, you can mix and match. But it just sounds limited. It's pushing me to buy. I'll be honest. It sounds like it's saying, look, 2's enough. You want more. We are going to block that behind the store. And I don't know if there's a limit on how much you can buy. I mean, that's another controversy potentially waiting to happen. If I spend $100, that would be 10 sets, right? So I don't know. That's what we're worried about. It sounds like that's maybe what it's pushing us towards, but we got to get our hands on it. And I said it on Twitter the other day at the end of this type of rant was I do believe we got to play it first. We got to check it out before we condemn a system. So I do stand by that. I always believe that in gaming, but a lot of people are skeptical, and I certainly am not. After all these years, I'm like, I feel like it's a pretty big miss, especially in messaging. It doesn't address that we would obviously have this reaction.
Yeah.
So
this has all been very fascinating to follow from the outside as somebody who hasn't played Destiny 2 since I beat the Leviathan raid. Because I think this speaks to how complicated and how deep this stuff can get when you have a games as a service that has been around for long enough to where the economies and the systems have evolved. And as Bungie, it is your responsibility to listen to the audience and understand like what their needs are and what updates to give, so that you are you are developing the game with them in a way that feels good for them, but at the same time you're making sure that everything is equal and balanced and works the way that you want it to work. And it's fascinating from the outside because it sounds, just hearing you talk about it and reading through the news story and seeing all the lingo and all the stuff, I'm like, man, that sounds so deep, and this makes sense to why you'll hear stories about companies. I think there was a news story recently about how Naughty Dog, for the multiplayer game, was hiring somebody who's good with economy, so that you can have somebody that's actually managing that, and their pure role is to manage economy. And it's like, dude, video games have gotten here, man, where it is a task when you're taking care of something that is live and online and ever growing, and you need to make sure that everything is up to standard, or else it becomes an actual problem, like not just in-game economy, but then that translates to real world money issues and spending issues for players and stuff that goes from in-game problems to in real world, like, hey, this is fucked up kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, look, the good news is the controversy is what I was explaining. The fact is, in the game, I mean, there's a ton of beautiful stuff to wear that you can earn anyway, only if you care about the deepest of getting a good stat roll and everything and making an intellect recovery set. Not everybody does that. And that's another place that's probably not being talked about, because it's deep. It's like, that's what Bungie's looking at probably. They're like, how many people really even have, that care to do this? So it's, like I said, it's a vanity thing as well. It's just the way that you look in the game. It's not a game breaking thing, but we're also at the end of this latest year. In terms of seasonal content, it's winding down. The next big Destiny release actually got pushed out a little bit to early next year. So we're all kind of bored too. So unfortunately, it's this big game-changing thing for a lot of us that play it a lot, but we have nothing else to talk about. So yeah, it's going to generate a lot of heat right now. And who knows, maybe it'll be old news, in a month or so.
Fran, speaking of economy, let's talk about story number 3. CD Projekt Red refunded around 30,000 Cyberpunk 2077 copies. This is from Brendan Sinclair at GamesIndustry.biz. After Cyberpunk 2077 launched in December in a rougher state than expected, CD Projekt Red offered full refunds to any customers disappointed by the game. In a post-earnings conference call today, and this is yesterday, CD Projekt Red executives gave some insight into how many people actually took the studio up on its offer. CD Projekt reported spending $2.23 million on its Help Me Refund program, which included the cost of processing refund payments to customers around the world. When asked how many copies of the game that equated to, an executive said it worked out to around 30,000 refund requests. Cyberpunk 2077 sold 13.7 million copies through the end of 2020 in total. Executives warned that the sales curve for the game may not be typical for a number of reasons, specifically noting the impact of the game being pulled from sale on the PlayStation Store and how that move by Sony may have influenced gamers' purchasing decisions on other platforms as well. The company also reported that Cyberpunk 2077 had a total budget of $316 million. More than half of the copies sold, 56%, were on PC or Stadia, followed by PlayStation 4, which had 28%, and then Xbox One, which had 17% of sales. 30,000 refunds seems like a small number for how big of a controversy there has been around Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to unpack there in terms of like, were all 13.7 million copies eligible for this refund? I can't remember if there would be any, other, outlying issues that you couldn't do. But the fact is, I was trying to do the math real fast. I think it's 0.2% of the people who bought it returned and said, yeah, I don't want this. So That's not much. If you look at 30,000 copies, though, and you think about some games, you're like, okay, 30,000 copies of a game is decent. It's not a huge game release, but it's still 30,000 copies. But yeah, for them, even though they spent, it looks like $316 million in on it, raw numbers without doing rev share cuts, they had over $800 million in revenue if it was a $60 average purchase for each one of those. And it probably was even bigger average purchase, right, with limited editions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a lot, but I don't think it removes the fact of that's returns. That's not dissatisfied. So,
yeah.
Like, right? If you had to guess how many of those 13.7 million were dissatisfied, they wanted something better. They expected better. For what they
I would
paid.
say a large portion. Like, I mean, we're looking at, again, to those percentages, right? 56% of those copies were sold on PC or Stadia, and then that's followed by 28% on PS4 and Xbox, or 28% on PS4, 17% on Xbox One. There's a large amount of those people on PS4 and Xbox One who are probably like, what the fuck, man? This game should run better. And that obviously like depends on what exact console you're playing it on. Are you playing it on base PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5? But a large portion are probably playing those games on an older console. And even the people that are playing those games on the best consoles are probably still having issues that are making them go, what the fuck, man? And that's not even talking about the game itself, which does still have issues, even if you are playing the best version of it. Whether you want to talk about glitches or you want to talk about things like the like how the cops behave in the game, and maybe people who might be dissatisfied with even narrative stuff, right? Which might be like a whole different thing, because I that's gonna change from person to person. I really like the story of Cyberpunk 2077, but there's a whole range of things that people can bring to the table in terms of, hey, I wasn't feeling this in this game. And if we're talking about dissatisfaction with Cyberpunk 2077, oh yeah, the number way exceeds 30,000.
Yeah, but that's the thing, there's always the other side. How many people were like, nah, it was fine, it wasn't the be all end all maybe for some, but also I do know some people that loved it. But it's
I'm one of those people that loved it. Like I loved it when I played it on PC, and like, again, I'm in a blessed position where I played that game on a very good PC, and I played that game before the day one patch. And so I was in a situation where I was like, cool, I am playing this with just my own experience, because I was in the review cycle. I don't have to worry about like any other person's review or any other people's experience. I'm playing this game with my own with just my own experience with it, which meant that all the glitches I was experiencing, I was like, all right, well, this will probably be fixed with the day one patch. And then also, I just had the thing of, like, I think with Cyberpunk, when things start to open up and more people got their hands on the game, started to talk about the game, and more of the true nature of the game started to get revealed, that clued people into, oh yeah, this isn't as magical as maybe I thought it was gonna be when I picked up the game or pre-ordered it. But with my experience in mind, right, like I fucking love the game. But yeah, it's unfortunate that so many people didn't get to.
Yeah, like you were touching on before, there's such a range of what people talk about they may have been disappointed with, but I'm with you. I think the game was really cool in a lot of ways. I was lucky because on PC, even though I had some issues, it was okay overall. But it had like that open world sandbox weirdness that actually I've always given GTA flack for. As much as I like a lot about GTA, I'm like, dude, this is janky. And this, to me, this game has a lot of that going on. But you start to realize that, putting the marketing aside, you're like, oh yeah, of course it's still that kind of like weird, occasionally a car is going to fall from the sky, but it didn't really break the game. It was actually funny. But a lot of people, I think it's 45%. I was trying to do that number real fast. It is like 45% were on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, according to these numbers. 44.
Yes, 44. Because 56. Oh, math. Yeah, 56% were on PC. That means 44%.
Oh yeah, wait. Somebody did but that actually means we're missing. It doesn't matter. The math and the 56% plus the other two doesn't quite net out, but that's all right. In any event, because 28% and 17% is 45, but either way. It is a lot of people. It's like 6 million people or more. So I was kind of thinking about that, and like how many of those people truly struggled until like it got updated, and it's a lot, And so anyway, I think because you didn't see that many returns, people were still like, I'm still fine with it, in the end. But no doubt, I think everybody walked away from. We probably could have waited till the game got in shape. And I think that's the real story here that I tried to highlight in the past, which is why did it need to come out? We don't even have the next gen versions yet. Like in the state that it was in, like what happened in the industry here that the push and promise was so much that it had to come out.
Yeah.
I know they spent over, the $300 million on it, and there's a lot to risk and promises made, but the industry we live in said, you did that instead of just releasing it, this year and making the $800 million anyway? I don't understand the economics there. What's the problem? So...
Fran, I did the math for you because I also noticed that something was up. So the percentages they give, right, are 56% were on PC or Stadia, PlayStation 4 had 28%, and then Xbox One had 17%. That adds up to 101, which either that means that somebody miscalculated, or maybe that's just like a business thing of
they might
for
be
some
like
reason.
They might be like rounding up percents and stuff like that. So
yeah,
exactly.
It's all right. It's all right. But you're right. If everybody's on top of you're wrong, it wasn't us. It was in the story. Okay. So.
Yeah. Fran, before we move on to our next news story, I want to tell you about our sponsors, of course. You can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by DoorDash. You want Chinese, they want pizza, and someone is craving froyo. And as Tim pointed out yesterday, that's a wild party you're at. There's something for everyone at DoorDash. DoorDash connects you with the restaurants you love right now and right to your door. And now you can get the grocery essentials you need with DoorDash too. Get drinks, snacks, and other household items delivered in under an hour. Ordering is easy. Open the DoorDash app, choose what you want from where you want, and your items will be left safely outside your door with the contactless delivery drop-off setting. With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Australia, and now Canada, you can support your neighborhood go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code GAMES2021. For our Canadian listeners, use code GAMESCA. That's 25% off up to $10 in value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code GAMES2021 in the US and GAMESCA in Canada. Don't forget, that's code GAMES2021 or GAMESCA for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. We're also brought to you by ExpressVPN. Are you running out of shows to watch? Would you like access to the next upcoming anime or British crime drama? Let me tell you, man, I talked about Luther last time I was on the show. I'll talk about it again. All right. The British crime dramas are nothing to sleep on. Luther was a masterpiece and it deserves better. Dang it. You can use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. I'm going to spoil like part of this first episode of Luther, right? This is not even a spoiler. This is just how dope Luther is. All right. He has a woman, right, that he's interrogating because she just went through her husband dying, and he's like, all right, let's talk, let's try and get to the bottom of this. And she's distraught and all this stuff, right? Luther, he's suspecting like some weirdness is going on in the situation. Do you know what he does? As he's interrogating this girl, he lets out a yawn. He's like, all right, I'm going to go back in the back room, right? And I'm going to talk to my people, see what we can do. He leaves the interrogation room, starts talking to his people, and do you know what he says to one of the police chiefs? He's like, "She did it.
Wow.
She did it.
Wow."
They're like, "How do you know?" He's like, "He didn't yawn, or she didn't yawn." When you yawn in front of other people, they yawn. Do it, right? What? Yawns are contagious. She had a straight face. She did it. And you know what? Did she do it? You'll have to watch Luther to find out, Barrett. Go watch Luther. It's a dope show, and I don't know where you can access it right now. Maybe if you get ExpressVPN, you can access it in the UK. ExpressVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want sites to think you're located. Open the app, select the location, tap one button to connect, and refresh the page to access thousands of new shows and movies. Choose from almost 100 different countries. Watch Studio Ghibli films on UK Netflix. Watch anime on Japanese Netflix. Watch Doctor Who on UK Netflix. This works with any streaming device, Hulu, BCI player, YouTube, and more. You can stream in HD, no problem, no buffering or lag. It's compatible with all your devices, phones, laptops, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. Not only does it let you change your location, it also encrypts your data and lets you surf the web safely and anonymously. Go to expressvpn.com/games to get an extra 3 months free of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/games. Lastly, We're brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh offers 25 plus recipes to choose from each week, from vegetarian meals to craft burgers and extra special gourmet options. There's something for everyone to enjoy, with all recipes designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. HelloFresh has a wide variety of easy, delicious options for all 3 meals of a day, plus every snack and special treat in between. Kind of Funny loves HelloFresh. Many of us on the team have used it. I've used it. Tim's used it to make home cooking nutritional and easy. Go to HelloFresh.com/12games and use code 12games. That's 12games. The number is 12games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/12games and use code 12games for 12 free meals, including free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. Go watch Luther, everybody.
Is that the one with
story
Idris
number
Elba?
4? It's the one with Idris Elba, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. He's a UK cop, and he's not afraid to break the rules to do what is needed to be done, Barrett.
I've never seen a show like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Idris Elba. Doing what Idris Elba does best. Story number 4, Raven has been hiring like crazy to support Warzone. This is Tom Ivan at VGC. Raven Software has discussed how Call of Duty Warzone's massive success has impacted developments behind the scenes at the Madison, Wisconsin-based studio. Activision's free-to-play Battle Royale game has been a smash hit since its March 2020 launch, attracting 6 million players in 24 hours, 15 million in 3 days, 30 million in 10 days, 50 million in 1 month, 85 million in 9 months, and 100 million players in 13 months. To cope with the demands of its ballooning player base, co-developer Raven, which has contributed to every premium Call of Duty game released since 2010, has been on a major recruitment drive over the past year. Quote, "I can tell you we've been hiring like crazy at Raven," creative director Amos Hodge told VGC in a Warzone interview published this week to coincide with the launch of Season 3. Quote, We have jobs posted all over the place, and we're looking for new talent. If any of your readers out there are interested, we have more ideas than we can do. Warzone was a smash hit success. All the studios are helping on it, but it's also additional to our normal Call of Duty schedule. We have a normal Call of Duty schedule, and this is on top of that. So we've had to grow really fast." End quote. Awesome stuff. Fran.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Warzone fan, so happy to hear that. I mean, I think it's worth putting out there, and a good reminder that Warzone, just blew up, and they've been sharing it between multiple studios. Raven has had to take it on, but awesome that they're hiring. Awesome that as much as we hear some bad stories about Activision, plenty of them in terms of the money that it keeps, it looks like it's opening up the coffers for Raven and letting them hire people, because I can't imagine taking this beast on, because it needs a lot of work, and it sounds like they got a lot of ideas. So if you're talented or not, or want to get into the gaming industry, this might be a good opportunity for you.
Yeah, it's fun to follow the success of Warzone because I think it's going to speak to whatever their larger plans for Call of Duty are. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they tie in future Call of Duty games with Warzone, continue to develop it. Them hiring up at Raven speaks to the fact that Warzone is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think coming off of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, was it the one with Blackout in it? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that after Blackout, them releasing Warzone, they probably had somewhat tempered expectations on how it would do, and for it to blow up and be one of the best battle royales, or when I say best, I mean biggest battle royale, because Apex is the best. Be one of the biggest battle royales on the market right now. It's probably a thing that sits well with them because it's Call of Duty, and so Call of Duty should be able to release a shooter that sits as one of the biggest. But for them, probably comes as a pleasant surprise because it's not guaranteed that a thing is going to be a hit. But Warzone very obviously has been a hit, and so good for Raven.
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, like you said, Blackout was good. It was a learning experience, but it didn't blow up. And you go back to 2017 when Fortnite started to blow up this world. Obviously, to be fair, before that, PUBG, really starting things and beginning the wave. But Fortnite just blew it out of the water, and there was so much money out there. And here we are today that Warzone now is on that side. And also Apex, it's been awesome to see. I remember actually going to that event for Kind of Funny, seeing the reveal and being like, huh, this looks pretty good. That was like a year and a half or maybe 2
That was
of
beginning of 2019. That was 2 years ago.
It's crazy because like Fortnite came out in the summer of 2017. And to think that within a year and a half, Apex came out, and look at where it is today. Anyway, I'm just glad that we have all these choices because I forget if we mentioned it on yesterday's show. I was talking about it, but like eventually, you're going to tire of one, go to the other. You need options. Oh, it was because Battlefield and Halo, we were talking about, are they going to have battle royales? And, it sounds like a lot, and it is. I always have trouble choosing now playing.
I mean, Battlefield did have theirs, right? And it just didn't stack up to the rest because it was Firestorm. And they released it after, and people tried it out and just didn't stick with it.
Yeah, but are they trying again? Is a question. They said Battlefield is going to be the biggest, that it's ever been, the biggest team. So, man, it's going to be an exciting year for Battle
If they
Royales.
try again, they got to make it free to play. That's got to be the thing, right? Because I think that's the thing that Call of Duty learned is, hey, Blackout, as good as a mode as it is, it's not getting the same player base as you're going to see from other battle royales because it's not free to play. That's the thing that's allowed Fortnite and Apex Legends and other similar battle royales to come through and flourish. PUBG was paid, but PUBG was the anomaly that led to something like Fortnite. And after Fortnite, I think you have to be free to play if you're going to expect a battle royale to be that big.
Yeah, and there's a big difference, too, between 2 million paid PUBG players, which you're like, wow, that game, 2 million copies? That's a big number sold. But then Fortnite's like 120 million players.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait, what?
I mean, Warzone's like 100 million players. And Apex, I remember when it hit 50 million. Like, there are big numbers being reported out of free-to-play battle royales. And if you're going to put one out, that's got to be the move. I don't think people are going to... I don't think if the next Battlefield game comes out and a back of the box feature is, hey, we got Battle Royale, I don't think that makes people show up and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna pay money for this. It's like, no, I'm gonna play Apex. And so
yeah, if you do Battle Royale right, first of all, you get a ton of store microtransactions that help power the game. But secondly, maybe you introduce people into getting into the paid, campaign or multiplayer or whatever, like Call of Duty is doing right now.
Let's talk about story number 5. Nintendo and Fujifilm are teaming up so you can print your screenshots. This is Joseph Noop at IGN. Barrett, I have a trailer for this one if you can pull this one up I'm going through the story.
I refuse. Oh, well, I never had these things ready, plus. You know me.
Hey, man, do you remember last time where I had it in the dock and you did not have it ready?
Because you added it late.
I added it right before the show. And listen,
I'm watching it.
Listen, you're better than this at Kevin. Okay, this part, right? Pulling up the videos. I know Kevin's listening.
I just know you fucked me over last time, Bless. You added it last second after I already go through the doc. I'm just saying, man.
Fair enough. The news story goes like this.
Help me help you, Blessing. All right.
Again, this is Joseph Noop at IGN. Nintendo and Fujifilm are teaming up to make a new miniature printer and smartphone app that will let you take snapshots in Nintendo games and print physical versions. Dubbed the quote, how would I pronounce that? Either Insta-X or Instax, but Instax sounds weird. Instax Mini Link for Nintendo Switch smartphone printer. The palm-sized device lets you take pictures you shoot in games like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Super Mario Odyssey, and the new Pokemon Snap, and print out Polaroid versions. You can also add Nintendo characters, filters, and 59 frames to your photos via the smartphone app. The actual mini printer is identical to Fujifilm's other Instax Mini Link, but it comes with a red and blue trim that's similar to the Switch's original Joy-Con controllers. There's also a bundle available that wraps the Instax Mini Link in a Pikachu-shaped case. Fujifilm says the new Instax Mini Link will be released on April 30th, while the Pikachu bundle will be released, quote, in a limited quantity several weeks after the release of the Mini Link special edition, end quote. The Mini Link itself will cost $100, but the Pikachu bundle is only a bit more at $120. I included this as a news story because this is just really cool. I really like this. It reminds me of the Game Boy camera.
Yeah, it's clearly for Pokemon Snap, and I actually think it's a cool little tie-in. Presumably, it wasn't even that hard to do, but this commercial, it's hilarious. If you watch, it's just sort of the kind of that cliched new product, you know what I mean? They're all so excited to be looking at these printouts, and I was watching it because I'm trying to unpack okay, Pokemon Snap I get, and especially for kids. maybe some adults, like, I don't know, like you can have some fun with it, but like, what are you really going to be that excited about? But there's this frame in it of these two old guys in fedoras, and one of them's like showing the other guy, and he's so freaking excited. You have to watch the trailer and give it a look. It's
very similar energy to that one woman who in the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer where she's like, she goes to the party with her Switch and everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the same direction, but they're just like, all right, well, we said that we're going to capture an older audience.
Look at how happy they all are.
But like, tell me this isn't exciting though, you know, like printing out all of your Pokemon snaps that you just snapped, putting them on your wall, like decorating.
Look at how
I'm getting this shit. I'm getting this shit
their
for
Switch
sure.
pictures. You love it.
I just like the idea of printing out screenshots. That seems like a really fun thing.
Yeah, there's even you're right. There's a frame in there. The guy's just like got them all like neatly organized on the wall. Is like, yeah, man, I got him. It's all these Pokemon. He's so happy.
Speaking of Pokemon Snap, story number 6, there's a new Pokemon Snap website that gives a tour of the Lental region ahead of the launch. This is Wesley LeBlanc at IGN. New Pokemon Snap has received a snazzy new website dedicated to helping players learn the basics before jumping into the Lental region when the game launches next week. The game will be released on April 30th, and this new website is perfect for those excited for what awaits them in the new Pokemon Snap. The website, aptly named explorelental.com, as if it were the tourism site for a real place, will require you to log in with your Nintendo account before gaining access to it. That's because you can earn My Nintendo points while exploring the site. I tried going to the site because this actually sounded like a really fun idea earlier today, and it was down because I assume that people are flocking to it. It's up right now though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. If we had more time in the show, I'd have Barrett go through it so we can just have a little bit of fun, but we're running late. And so
he won't do that.
Keep trucking on.
No, I refuse.
God damn. Man, it's like I'm hosting with Kevin right now, right? I'm getting all this pushback.
Yeah,
Barrett.
I'm sorry.
All this pushback.
Whenever I run shows, which is like rare now, like I just feel like I have to embody Kevin just because I know he brings a specific energy. But yeah, we are running a little late, so we
do have to move on. Our last news story for the day, story number 7. It Takes Two has sold 1 million copies. This is Hazelight at Twitter, or on Twitter. They tweeted out this morning, "Wow, just found out #It Takes Two has sold over 1 million copies and is still going strong. Thank you so much for all the love you've shown our game. It means the world to us." And they put a heart emoji. That's awesome. Congratulations to It Takes Two. It's a wonderful game.
Yeah, do you have to I forget. You can play it on your own, or do you have to play it with 2 people?
You have to play it with 2 people, and it has to be somebody you know. There's not random matchmaking.
Right. Yeah, because you get the code for free, right, for the second player, which is awesome. My short comment there was just like, I think it's awesome that it sold 1 million copies, and it is that type of. It's a very specific idea, and I know it was Brothers, right? I played a little bit of that.
Halo 2 Sons.
It's cool ideas. It's funny. It's very Nintendo, actually. It feels like in terms of inspiration, of getting people together, but I'm glad it's doing well. I hope we see more stuff like this.
Same. Yeah, you mentioning Nintendo, I think is very spot on. As I was playing through the game, that was the thing that kept coming to mind of like, man, this feels like such a Nintendo game, both in terms of the whimsy of it and the fun mechanics, but then also the polish of it. Like it's doing a new thing every scene, and I think the way that it's able to pull that off is really cool and really enjoyable. And like as a reminder too, this is a game published by EA, and for this game to be an EA original and go on to seem to have successful sales so far is a very cool thing, because I think that's gonna mean that we're gonna see more from Hazelight coming up, and I don't want them to stop because they're very good at making these types of games. But Fran, the next Hazelight game is probably just so far away. If I wanted it was coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Near Replicant version 1.22474487139 ellipsis. That's coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. We also got Judgment. That's coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and Stadia. And then we got Hitman 3's next elusive target, The Politician, that goes live today. New dates for you. No Plan B is coming to Steam Early Access this year. The free prologue launches today. And then speaking of things that are launching, is it today or is it later? I got a tweet here from at Tunic game. They tweeted out this morning as we were going live for KFGD. They said, play the limited Tunic demo on Steam. So I assume that's actually out today. Join us in the official @FinjiCo Discord for live events and Q&As. And so if you've been like many of us and looking forward to Tunic and wanting anything from Tunic, because that game looks really cool, you can check out the demo. It looks so good.
And I think it's only playable this weekend, so if you want to check it out on Steam, do it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. It seems like it's part of the Ludo Narracon, which is going on for the next 3 days, and so the demo's available now. It's a Zelda-like game, like a top-down Zelda-like game, where he plays a cute fox, and it has voxel graphics. So if that speaks to you, go check out Tunic.
Yeah.
Fran, people can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where they can get the show ad-free, and they can also write in with their questions. We don't have time for questions because, again, we're running late in the show. So I'm skipping straight to You're Wrong. This is where you write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so you can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. That is editorializing, and then...
Of course.
Okay. I see. Fighting Wombat writes in and says, just clarifying, due to an update, the Cyberpunk refunds 30,000 are only counting those that emailed the company. It doesn't include returns from Microsoft, Best Buy, GameStop, or PlayStation. That is very good to know, because as you remember, right, when the whole Cyberpunk thing was going down, they asked, hey, if you want your refund, you can email us directly. But then also PlayStation started actually offering refunds directly when they took the game off the store. And so 30,000 copies isn't the whole story. There's more to the story.
Well, that's very misleading. Wait a second. That's all right. Maybe we'll hear more of the full number later.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if we do, because I don't think that's a number that PlayStation would have put out there themselves, right?
True.
Like, and I wonder if Cyberpunk, or CD Projekt Red, I should say, has the authority to be able to come out and even say those numbers, or if they would even want to. I think 30,000 is a number you say because it comes off as a better number. Like we sold this many million, 30,000 refunded, but think about how small of a number that is compared to the 13 million we sold. If the number is actually way higher than that, then I can get why they're like, let's keep that hush and give this number that feels somewhat official.
Yeah, maybe that was it. They decided, we're going to give part of the story, which is true, but if this truly is that it's only a small part of the total number. Because, the Help Me refund program was just one part of it, I guess.
Exactly.
Interesting. Could be some smoke and mirrors to get you not to... But I still don't imagine it's
1,000% smoke and mirrors. This is CDPR being kind of misleading, but giving a factual statement to help lend some not direness to the story, if you know what I mean.
Even if it was 100,000 or 200, you'd still out of 13 million. It's
they still sold many copies that probably were not refunded. That is true.
Yeah.
But
maybe we'll never know.
This has been Friday's Kind of Funny Games Daily. That means that we have a whole ass week coming up next week. Your hosts for next week go like this. On Monday, it's me and Tim. On Tuesday, it's Greg and Gary Whitta. Wednesday, it's me and question marks. I don't think we know who's hosting with me on Wednesday yet. Thursday, it's Greg and Tim. And then on Friday, it's Greg and me. You know what? I said we don't know. Tentatively, it is Tim Geddes. Wednesday should be me and Tim. And then, Friday, it is Greg and me. If you're watching this live on Twitch right now, after this, is Mike doing a community stream and playing what, Barrett?
We're getting people together from the community to play some Smash Brothers. So if you want to come join and show your might in Smash Bros.
Wow.
Come join us. And then maybe, if we have time, if time allows us, maybe we'll get some of the Fortnite bros in here and play some Fortnite.
Oh man, I am jealous of
it's a fun Friday.
Smash Brothers. I'd want to actually play some of that, but of course I got to turn around and watch some Mortal Kombat right after this, and so that should be fun. This has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday, live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We actually don't have a Patreon post show for today because we were running on a very tight schedule. Barrett doesn't have time to stick around to record the post show because we got to get into the stream right after this. And so bear with us, Patreon. Hope you guys understand. But of course, we got a Kind of Funny Games Daily coming up next week. More of it, like always. And so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, until next time, Fran, where can people find your work?
Oh, yeah. Catch me on Twitch, usually streaming kind of late. Twitch TV/FM3 with an underscore at the end. But thanks for having me on.
Until next time, Game Daily.